Dear Greg, I'm 30 years old, and all my life I've tried to live with something I just can't handle by myself anymore. From the time I was about 8 until I was 12, I was sexually abused by my grandfather and by a man who lived 2 doors down from us. I have thought about what was done to me every day of my life. My grandfather is dead now, but whenever the family gets together, they talk about what a great man he was, and then I want to throw up. They also talk about what a nice man our neighbor is, and I can't stand it when they do that. Sometimes I wish both of them were dead. Actually, in this case of my grandfather, I want to bring him back from the dead and then kill him. I also want to tell everybody what liars and monsters these two men are. I can't live with the lies anymore. But on the other hand, I can't tell you how awful it will be if I start talking about this. I don't think my family will believe me. They think my grandfather was a loving and kind man, and it will destroy my family's relationship with my neighbor. So I'm stuck. I can't live with it, and I can't talk about it. What can I do?
Darling, you're not stuck. You're doing something about it right now. You're talking about it, and that's huge. And you're about to understand what happened in ways that you've never considered before. And that understanding really can give you a power to change the way you see everything, which in turn can change the way you feel. When you're in pain, it's natural to focus on your wounds and on the people who inflicted them. But it's obvious that you've already discovered that that approach cannot make you happy, ever. Focusing on our pain and on our wounds never makes us happy. Instead, let's talk about how you can heal your wounds and find the genuine happiness you really want. First, let's discuss why you were abused. When people do things to us, it's almost unavoidable that we take it personally. We wonder, why did they do that to us? What is there about us that precipitated that behavior? How could we have behaved differently to prevent whatever wound was inflicted upon us? Much of your pain comes from wondering what was wrong with you and why you, as opposed to everyone else, were treated that way. But there's more. How could those people have been allowed to do what they did to you? Why weren't you protected? Why weren't you protected by your parents? In fact, how could a loving God have allowed such horrible things to happen to you? So many questions. All those questions become pretty irrelevant when we understand real love. We all need it, but very few of us got enough of it. Instead, we've been ignored, manipulated, used, conditionally approved, and even abused, as you were. When we don't have enough real love, the emptiness and pain are intolerable. So we tend to respond by filling our lives with imitation love. Sex, power, conditional approval, money, whatever. Now, what does that have to do with what happened to you? We'll talk about that in our next session.